Knicks now a game over 500 in fourth place by themselves in the conference. Do they need to make a move? Do the Knicks need to make a move to acquire like a closer or a superstar, like a franchise cornerstone type player? Or should they keep the roster as is? Can they win a playoff series this year? Like, if Bradley Beal is available, what would it take for the Knicks to get him? And do you even need to push your chips to the middle of the table yet? They've just started this healthy culture in New York. On the other hand, there's a tide in the affairs of men, which taken in the flood. What? I forgot the quote. But anyway, it's Cassius to Brutus. Or Brutus to Cassius. Anyway, it's Julius Caesar. There's a tide in the affairs of men. That means that you go in now. Because sometimes if it feels like, well, you have more time, but actually you got to take it, like you got to ride that wave now, because once it passes, it won't be there. So is the time now to acquire a foundational piece like a Bradley Beal, thereby making the Knicks more attractive to, superstar free agents? Michael in Georgia, you're on the Max Kellerman Show, ESPN Radio.
Hey, how you doing, Max?
Good,
I was calling in because I see everybody excited about KD when he comes back and all these expectations and all this talk about AD being unhealthy. But what if this injury with KD is bigger than everyone thinks it is? And like, what if he can't even make it out of the playoffs? Can't make it throughout the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, look, health is a concern for the Nets, but it is the only concern at this point. I could say secondarily, DeAndre Jordan being able to really provide defensive energy consistently. But you can find a guy like that to supplement DeAndre Jordan at the trade deadline in the NBA. Those guys aren't that hard to find. And so I like, it's just health. It's just ridiculous how good they're going to be offensively. And James Harden said it right a couple weeks ago. We just have to be decent defensively. They've been a little more than that recently. And Harden's not making excuses even without KD or Kyrie. He's like, no, we lost. Not making excuses. But the fact is, when a top-heavy team is missing two of their best three players, of course they're not going to be as good. Don't forget, they rampaged through the Western Conference, beat everybody in the West without KD. It's a problem. It is going to be scary. Lars in North Carolina, you're on the Max Kellerman Show, ESPN Radio.
Hey, how's it going, Max?
Good, Lars. What's up?
Really like the show. Really like
Thank
it.
you.
So what do you think the Knicks ceiling is this season?
I think the question is right. Can they win a playoff series? It is possible that the Knicks, because they've played outstanding defense, can maybe win a playoff series if everything goes right. I mean, there's like a guy like Quickly has to develop a little more, and mainly he needs more playing time. And things have to, you have to get the best version of the development of R.J. Barrett, of the best version of Nerlens Noel. Julius Randle has to keep shooting it from a distance like this. But it's not out of the question. I wouldn't say it's out of the question, particularly if they're in the top four. If they're on that side of the bracket and they're not facing any of the juggernauts in the East, then they could do it. Now, look, if it's the playoffs and Miami's got their guys, Knicks ain't going to beat Miami. And they're not going to beat the Bucks. And they're not going to beat the Sixers. And they're not going to beat the Nets. But are there teams in the East? Probably they don't beat the Celtics. But are there teams in the East who could wind up in the playoffs that the Knicks could beat in a 7-game series? It's possible. Believe me, I'm as surprised as you. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.